Welcome and thank you for joining us today for this information session for the 2025 James Castle House Residency. I'm happy you are here with us today. I want to mention that unfortunately, we were unable to secure an ASL interpreter for the session, but English language captions are available by clicking on the live transcript button at the bottom of your screen, then selecting Show Subtitle. Before we dive into the information session, we would like to acknowledge the broader history of the land the James Castle House sits on. We recognize the ancestral, cultural, traditional, and unceded territory of the Shoshone, Bannock, and Northern Paiute people whose land the site sits on today. This information session will be available on the James Castle House YouTube channel and website. This will be a recording to allow you to rewatch and to pass along. And English language caption will also be available in those recordings. The James Castle House Residency is a program brought to you by the City of Boise Arts and History Department, where we offer many other services, including public art, history programs, archives, cultural grants, and care and conservation. Now for introductions. My name is Monica Galvan, and I am the Cultural Sites Program Coordinator for the James Castle House. I'm here with Kristen Hill, our Cultural Sites Manager. During the presentation, please feel free to submit your questions into the chat. We will address them at the end and take note of the contact information that we will share with you later, and we will happily answer any questions that might come up for you during your time you are filling out the application. Here's our agenda for today. We will be talking about the James Castle House Residency Overview, the application process, the criteria, selection panel and that process, suggestions that we have thought of, frequently asked questions, and then any questions that may have arisen for you during the presentation. All right, let's dive in. So the residency invites artists to immerse themselves in the site, explore the house, its history, and the surrounding landscape, and to respond to their experience through the creation of new artworks. The James Castle House celebrates the life and work of American artist James Castle through the exhibitions, community programs, research, the residency program, and the conservation of historic spaces where Castle lived and worked for over 4 decades. Here are our residency goals. Number 1 is to support emerging and mid-career artists by providing space and time to focus deeply on a creative practice. 2, to provide free and accessible cultural programming to the Boise community. Number 3, expand community awareness of the James Castle House. And number 4, continue the daily practice of creativity on site that was established by James Castle. Let's take a closer look at these 2 residency options. We award this 10-week residency to 3 artists, and the terms are in spring, summer, and fall. What these look like is a $5,000 stipend, 3 open studios for the public to come and engage with you on site, 1 workshop, a final presentation, and that also includes an open studio after the final presentation, and 1 donated artwork at the end of the residency. The expenses that are paid by the resident are the travel, supplies, liability insurance, and food. And the expenses paid by the James Castle House are housing, utilities, and that $5,000 stipend. The short-term stays will be awarded to 2 artists, and these are held in December and January. The details of this short stay are a $500 stipend, 1 open studio at the end of the residency, and for expenses, they are exactly the same. So the resident must pay for travel, liability insurance, and food. And the James Castle House pays for the housing, utilities, and that $500 stipend. Both residencies are open for local artists, and these are great opportunities for those who have the flexibility to live on site. So eligibility, applicants must be able to work legally in the United States, be able to pass a background check, be 18 years or older, be an emerging or mid-career artist working in any creative field, and live on site through the duration of the residency term. Here's a look at the timeline. The application is open now until August 9th. And once it closes, there's a panel that review, and we will start the review right after it closes, and then we would notify the awarded artist by October 1st. The application, the way that you would submit the application is through Submittable. This is a free platform for users. You will be able to find the application on the James Castle House website under residencies and then clicking apply. And that's the logo for Submittable, just so you know you're in the right spot. Like I said, once the application closes on August 9th, we will then meet with the panel to review the criteria. And here are the different application components and the way that we look at them to review once it is closed. The application components are strength of application, so having clear, concise, and compelling response to the questions, and I will go through those in a little bit. The quality of work samples, so samples of work that reflect your unique voice. References, we ask for 3 individuals familiar with your work to speak about your work and experience in leading programs. And I just want to note that we ask for references contact information, and they won't be contacted unless you make it to the final round, and we're not asking for letters. And then the last thing, once we have our top choices, the finalists will be interviewed. So 2 finalists will be identified by the selection panel to be interviewed, and those interviews will be done by Kristen and myself. Here's a little bit of insight for the application questions. One suggestion is that you would write the answers on a Google Doc or a Word doc and save them until you are ready to submit the entire application. That way you can edit. So the first question is, please provide a brief statement about your creative and intellectual interest and how they relate to your studio practice. How do you go from inspiration to conception? Number 2, are there specific resources that might be necessary for you to have a successful studio practice? Number 3, what aspect of the James Castle House residency inspires you to apply? What do you imagine being most responsive to while on site? Number 4, community engagement is a major component of the James Castle House residency program. How do you imagine engaging with our community? And just a little brief look into the selection panel process. We identify different people, members of the community, to be part of the panel. We have a staff member, art and history commissioner, and a previous James Castle House residents. The applications are reviewed by each individual panelist on their own time. Then the entire panel gathers to narrow down to the top 2 finalists for each term. And then the finalists will be interviewed in September and the residents announced in October. Here are some of the suggestions that we thought of. Review the guidelines and criteria carefully. Choose work samples you are proud of and strongly reflect your voice and craft. Connect the dots throughout. Why are you choosing to apply to the James Castle House residency in particular? Focus on the medium of a cohesive body of work. In one medium, I'm sorry. Don't focus on showing variety. And here are some of the frequently asked questions. Residents, so the question would be like, can they live on site or off site if you're local? And residents must live on site throughout the term, even those who live in Boise. The residency is a solo experience, so no teams can apply. No pets or partners are allowed to live in the space. Applicants can only apply to both 10-week and short stay opportunities. I'm saying you can, sorry if that was confusing. Applicants cannot apply to multiple times for the same opportunity with different media. Now, Kristen, do you see any questions on the chat?
I think we have one question. How many applicants do you get for each residency? And can or should artists apply for both? I think in general, I would say we get about 50 applicants per residency. And we definitely encourage you to apply, again, for both the 10-week and the 10-day terms. But you can't apply multiple times for instance, you can't apply twice for the 10-week term with sculpture and with painting or, something like that.
I want to say that if you live in Boise and you want to come over and check it out, please do. We have open hours from 11 to 5 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we do have open studios with our current resident coming up. So it would be a great opportunity for you to come and check out the space.
Absolutely. All right, it looks like we do have a few other questions. So when does the 10-day residency occur? So we have one of those in December and one of those in January, and we are very careful about making sure that we're working around holidays. So it will not span anytime near Christmas or New Year's. Could you say more about what you are looking for in an applicant? Yes, I think as Monica mentioned earlier, we're really hoping that people can come and really engage with the site while they're here and respond to their experience here and the work they're making. That can look like so many different things. We've had a bunch of different residents in the past that have taken inspiration from really different components of this residency and, working in very different media. So we're not looking for any specific type of work or any aesthetic relationship to James Castle, but we are looking for someone who is going to be good with the public. Really you're a steward of the James Castle House while you're here with us. And so it's really important that our public can engage with you comfortably and, that you're open to allowing people into your space and giving them a little bit of attention. And if that doesn't answer your question, please let me know, Daniel. Another question, can partners or spouses visit during the residency? And if so, for how long? Are artists permitted to leave the residency to visit a spouse? So yes to both. I think that we have in our contract the term limits of being off-site for the residents. We ask that they don't leave for more than 7 consecutive days. So, you can leave multiple times throughout the residency as long as you're able to be present, to fulfill the contractual obligations. And we do allow partners and spouses to visit, and they can stay at the residency with you for a number of days, just not living there full time. Can artists continue work they've begun previously, or does the work done at the James Castle House need to be completely new work? I think we're really hoping that you're going to be making new work because we hope that it responds to the site. So rather than just bringing something that you've already been doing to the site, really being present and responding to your experience is what we're hoping for.
I would say that there's also a few great examples of some of the work that has been created on the YouTube channel. If you would like to go in there and see some of the final presentations, it's a good reflection of what previous residents have done. They showcase some of the artwork that they've done during the time that they are here. And really it's reflecting and responding on James Castle's work, obviously in your chosen medium, and responds to whatever you're already creating or the method of creating that you have, your style and practice. But really just responding to being in James Castle's house and then being able to see the greater collection of artwork that is available to you when you're here.
I also would like to mention that all of our past residents are on our website. So if you're curious about the kind of work that we've selected in the past, please feel free to browse around the website. And, we've had a lot of different varieties of visual art, a poet, a writer, and we are always hoping to expand what we're able to offer to our community. So we're wide open for suggestions.
Okay, it looks like there are no more questions. If they do come up, please reach out. Here is my contact information. I am available and wanting to help out anybody who reaches out. Thank you all for attending this information session. The recording will be available, like I said, on the YouTube channel in the next few days, so you can go back and watch it for reference or share with anybody that you would think might be interested in the residency. We thank you for taking the time to be in here.